Five biggest mistakes made by the first home buyers when buying their homes. I'm Adil Iqbal, and I would like to discuss with you the five biggest mistakes of the first home buyers. Let's jump it in. Number one, looking for a home before getting any pre-approval. This is an emotional aspect of buying a property. The first home buyers need to realize the first and the foremost important thing for them is to get their pre-approval done. Pre-approval is valid for 90 to 120 days. So in that period of time, they can easily buy through auction or through private treaty. So if let's say they do not have any pre-approval and they go to buy a property and put down the deposit for 5%, what is the downside of that? That they not only lose 10%, so this is very, very important as the first and foremost rule that they need to get the pre-approval done. Number two, not understanding how much they can afford and how much they want to pay. Most of the lenders tell you that you only need 5% deposit to get the house of your dreams, which is true to some extent. But there are lots of hidden charges. They need to realize, they need to talk to someone, property experts, agents, friends in the family who had already bought the properties. They need to understand how and how much they have to pay. So I have few points, a few things to discuss with you about the hidden charges apart from 5% deposit. Number one, loan application fee, which they have to pay when they go through the bank or through the mortgage broker. Number two, inspection fees. Building pest and energy efficiency rating was paid by the seller to put the property on the market. And after when the buyer actually bought the property from the seller, that report of building pest and energy will be reimbursed to the seller and paid by the buyer. Number three, the government fees. What is the government fees, by the way? Stamp duty and land transfer fee. So when you buy a property for $1 million and you put down the deposit for that, and you bought the property, you feel so happy, oh, all those things are done, I'm living in my new home, and immediately after 20-25 days, you get an email from the revenue department that you have a stamp duty to pay and you got these many days. So that is also a hidden charge which you need to understand, and that's actually a little bit higher. Number four, legal fee. What is a legal fee, by the way? The legal fee is the solicitor's fee. So when you buy a property through an auction or through private treaty, what happens that you need to settle the property, and for settlement, you need to take the services of the solicitor, which is again $1,500 to $2,000 extra cost to you. Then there are some other charges like removalist cost, building and content insurance, because the bank always wants you to have a building and content insurance so that they can actually release the funds to you. And one of the other things are connecting your gas, electricity, and telephone. And the last most important thing is the LMI. What is an LMI? For instance, if you do not have a 20% deposit and you really want to buy a property like 10%, or maybe 12% deposit, you have to take an LMI from the bank, which is called lender's mortgage insurance. You can include it into your principal amount, or you can pay it upfront. So that is an extra cost. All of these hidden charges can be around 5% of the property cost, which you need to keep in your mind when you are buying your first home. My third very, very important point, not have enough saving. So most of the lenders want you to have at least 5% of the property price from the genuine saving account for 3 to 6 months. Like most of the people, most buyers say, look, it's not going to be possible for us because it's going to be too much. How can we put down that thing? If you are putting down a lower deposit, which means that you have a higher interest rate, the solution to that is you need to save at least 20% so that you won't be able to pay an LMI, or you will not be able to have a higher interest rate. The other thing is, if you cannot save 20%, then you can request your parents to give you as a gift some money as a gift for the deposit, and then you can pay them later. Or they can become your guarantors. In case you default on the loan you are taking from the bank, your parents will be liable to pay back to the banks. This is one of the solutions at number 3. Number 4, skipping completely the building pest and energy efficiency rating attached in the marketing contract. When you're buying a property, you go and inspect the property, you like the property, request for the agent, can you send me the contract? The agent sends you the contract. According to ACT, the properties goes on the market, they should have the building pest and energy file in them. So you need to actually sit down, read that complete building pest and energy efficiency rating, see how many unapproved structures you have, any leakage, any fence issue, any pool unapproved, maybe the retaining wall, maybe the deck or the pergola. You never know what is there. So what will happen, the good side is, you can easily talk to the agent and put the price down. For example, you can talk to the agent and say, look, we have read the contract and we found out there are some unapproved structure. What are you going to do about that? And they definitely come to say, like, look, we need to talk to our clients and we come back to you. As they talk to their clients, they realize that this must be involving like tens and thousands of dollars. So they will reduce the actual asking price so that they can make a deal with you. So it's only through reading the building pest and energy efficiency rating. My 5th and the last point, not assessing the neighborhood at all, which is very, very dangerous. When you go and buy a property, you just go to the open homes. Go there again, alone or with your family. Just drive past, stop there. If somebody is actually doing gardening, somebody actually walking their dogs, just start talking to them and tell them, this is the area I'm going to buy a property. How do you like this area? How long you have been living here? Making a little bit of connection with people living in that suburb give you the kind of understanding that where this area is and are you making the right choice for you and your family or not. So few of my tips are, you should definitely make a list of the amenities you need when you are living in that area. For example, how far is the marketplace? What sort of schools are there? Are the schools good or not good? And because one day your kids will go to those schools in the area, so you need to make those lists. That's very, very important. Most importantly, check the crime rate of that area or that suburb. Maybe you want to buy a property in Kaleen or maybe in City or somewhere nearby the shop front, or maybe you want to buy a property in the Warden area. So wherever you want to buy, just check the crime stats of that area. Normally what happens, there are some Facebook groups of most of these suburbs. You can just request the admin to take you in and just scroll down, check all the things happening in that suburb, ask some admin, some people or the area or the people living in that area, ask some questions randomly, ask some questions and come to know about those areas. So my request is just do your proper homework before you buy, because if you don't, you will end up living in that property which you do not like later, even though your house is pretty amazing, but their area is not. So I have discussed 5 most important things about the first home buyers. So I am Adil Iqbal and I would love to basically listen to all your comments later. Thank you.